Okay, so a while back I made a video, and the video was never do anything in half measures, right? So that's often said, don't do anything in half measures, which means don't, like, okay, like my attitude about fitness is if I'm going to do fitness at all, I might as well try to get really fit and get something that I can be proud of. Instead of some people might say, you know, well, I just want to lose a little bit, and I never thought that was really a good. It didn't work for me, that philosophy. And some people, uh, like let's say for example, some people if they learn a language, they learn it really well, and some people don't learn the language at all. Some people have this idea that either you should, if you learn a language, you should learn it really well, and some and do it so that you have something to be proud of, or just don't do it at all, because it's kind of cool to say my French is really good or pretty good, and and it's also kind of cool to say something like I lived in France for 10 years and I still can't speak a word of French, right? That's kind of cool, right? But to be somewhere like in the middle is kind of like you I don't know, it's you don't have this something that you can be proud of, I guess. So some people have this attitude, and then some people are okay with being in the middle, right? It's all good, right? But so we have this expression, uh, go big or go home. Go big or go home, which is almost the same kind of thing. So, like, let's say, for example, if you're going to, have a vacation, and it's the first vacation you've had in a while. Well, okay, should I try to save money here and there on my vacation? And so let's say you're talking about it with your wife or your friends, and say, okay, well, should we spend the money? Let's just say it's your wife. It's a better example, or your husband, right? So you're on vacation and you're trying to decide if you want to do this extra thing, like let's say paragliding, right? But it's kind of expensive, right? And you're discussing, well, should we spend the money? And the husband says, "Nah, screw it, go big or go home," which means as long as we're here, we might as well spend the money, and we might as well just do our vacation properly, right? So it could be with eating out, right? If you're going to eat out, you might as well get the stuff that you like, right? Or just stay home. Don't go out at all. Like, either one is a good option. If you stay home, you know, you save a bunch of money. And if you don't go on any vacation, you save a lot of money. But if you do go on vacation, you might as well have a good one, right? And here's another idiom, like you're going to have maybe a credit card bill later, but there's this other idiom that I talked about before, which is, well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, meaning we're going to have to pay more money later, but we'll handle that problem later. Okay, so go big or go home. So if you're going to, let's say if you've been saving for a video game, right? Some people might have the idea that if you're going to buy a video game, get the one that you want, make sure that you have enough accessories so that you can do it properly, right? So that you can, let's say, well, you buy the video game, but you didn't buy exactly the game that you wanted, right? Or maybe you tried to save money and you got the little bit older video game, that is the older version, but it's not quite what you wanted. Some people have the mind that, okay, I'm either going to buy the one that I want, I'm going to get the newest, best one with the games that I want, and the correct number of controllers and stuff, or I'm just not going to buy it at all, right? It's all or nothing. Go big or go home. You're either going to have a vacation that you want, or, you know, don't do it at all. So, like, could be with anything, you know. Could be you're going to start a business, you know, and you, as long as you're going to go to the bank and borrow the money, you might as well make it the way you want it, or otherwise just don't do it, right? It's kind of like if you're going to take a risk, you might as well just take the big risk and go ahead and go for it. Now, some people don't have that attitude. They might say, okay, well, you know, if I play it conservatively, I'm not taking as big a risk, right? But so, go big or go home. When do we use that expression? As I said, when you're sort of talking things over, you know, with someone about what you're going to do, or you say to them, well, yeah, come on, go big or go home. You know, let's go big or go home, right? So now, some people also might think it, like, let's say, if you're playing sports, right, you might as well try to have a big win rather than, let's say, beat the other team. Okay, so if you're going to win by a lot, okay? And if you're going to lose, you might as well lose big, right? I know this guy that, I think I told you this story before. He had lost his job, but he still had a lot of savings. And if he played things conservatively, he would have made his savings last a long time. But he was spending money like it's going out of style. I don't know if maybe I did this idiom before, but he was spending money, and I said, hey, I think his name was Mark, but hey, Mark, you know, why are you spending all your money, man? You don't even have a job. And he said, you know, if I'm going to go down, I might as well go down in a big way, right? So now let me show you something I got set up for you. Okay. Okay, I basically, in this case, I'm just trying to prove that it's used. So these guys are breaking water balloons over their head in slow motion. And
I think I got it, and when it was popped, should I do the big one? Might as well try. Go big or go home.
okay, so that's their attitude. If they're going to, so this guy is going to break a water balloon over his head, right? And let's be honest. I mean, if you are going to break a water balloon over your head, you might as well break a big one. I mean, come on, because you're going to get wet either way. You might as well do it properly. Okay.
To do well, I guess if
We
there,
go big or go home.
I guess
Okay.
so.
Well, so they're planning I think they're planning some kind of a production, like a stage play, and one guy said, "We go big or we won't go home." And it definitely is an American attitude. Go big or go home.
Go big or go home seems to be the American way. But to be faithful in serving him in little.
So, and then there is go hard or go home, which is one version. So instead of saying go big or go home, it's go hard or go home. But that's a little bit different. Like, this is kind of like, you know, there's sometimes when you wouldn't want to work as hard as you possibly can, right? Like when I used to work construction, I had to pace myself because it made me so tired. You know, if I worked to the maximum of my effort, you know, I would get tired. So I had to pace myself, which means to work at a pace that I could conserve energy so that I could work all the way till Friday without getting crazy tired. So, but so, but let's say, for example, if you're playing a game, let's say you've got a team, like you get two teams. Let's say it's American football, and one team says, "Well, let me just show you." Okay, I've got this already set up for you. So this is an American football team, and this is their schedule for this year. Now this is in the future, so they're not posting. This is only these two games into June, and then it becomes the older games. It's kind of stupid the way they got this set up. They don't have the regular season decided, apparently. So these are preseason games, and the fall season starts in the fall, like sometime in September, I think. So this is a friendly match. These are what's called exhibition games. Now, probably my guess is that one of these teams is much stronger than the other one, okay? And, you know, are these teams in this preseason game, are they going to go as hard as they can? Probably not. They're not going to, because it's called a friendly match. Actually, they're not even in the same conference. They're just playing this friendly match, these universities that don't normally play each other. Now, are they going to go out and go as hard and use their best players and you know, go as hard as they can? No, they're probably not. They're probably not, because they don't want to get injured. They don't want to get injured before the regular season on these little friendly games, okay? So let's imagine you've got a stupid coach, right? And maybe he doesn't believe that anybody should ever play at a sort of a friendly speed, like a, you know, just kind of playing, and, you know, you're playing to win. You want to win, but, you know, if you don't win, it's no big deal, because it's just a friendly match, okay? So let's say you got a coach that's pretty stupid, right? And he says that the players are playing and they're losing, and the coach talks to the players, and he said, you know, we don't want to lose this, right? And the players said, well, this is just a preseason. We don't need to play too hard. And he goes, the coach goes, no, come on, go big or go home, right? And that would be kind of foolish. He wouldn't use his best players and tell them go big or go home and hit as hard as they possibly can, because they could possibly be injured. What he might do, if he's a smart coach, would be to play his kind of like what they've got these, it's called first string, which is the players that are going to play every game, and then they've got second string, third string. What the smart coach might do is to play his third string players in this friendly game, and then he could say go big or go home, right? Because if they get injured, it's like, how can I say it? Like, if they get injured, they're probably not going to play in the regular season anyway, because they're maybe the younger players and they're not as good yet. So he might say, go big or go home, right? So, or go hard, he would probably say, go hard or go home. But it could be either one, okay? Go big or go home, or go hard or go home. So if you're going to start a restaurant, let's say, for example, or a clothing store, some people might say, let's start 2 restaurants, because if you're going to use your time, you might as well go big or go home, okay? So, or if you're a band, let's say, for example, you're a band and you're planning a concert tour. Some people might say, well, should we just do a smaller tour? Just maybe 5 or 6 shows? And the band says, nah, go big or go home. Okay, so anyway. That's your idiom. Go big or go home. Go hard or go home. And don't forget the one that I reminded you of don't do anything in half measures. Okay, so I will talk to you on the next idiom.